Hello, I'm Jeff Cummings, Director of the Cleveland Clinic Ruvo Center for Brain Health. At the Center for Brain Health, we take care of patients with Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, and multiple sclerosis. We conduct research and perform clinical trials to try to find new treatments for patients with these brain diseases. A critical aspect of our care is to work with caregivers. This series of videos introduces you to aspects of caregiving, including how to take care of yourself.
It's more than a language barrier. Individuals with Alzheimer's disease suffer from the ultimate failure to communicate.
She doesn't speak much, so the communication is difficult. And there's kind of a blank stare in her eyes at times. And her personality has changed quite a bit. She's certainly not the same person she used to be. It's difficult.
It's common for individuals with Alzheimer's disease to experience a variety of challenges in communicating. They can have a tough time finding the right words or understanding what words mean. They may not be able to follow a conversation, forget what they wanted to say, or repeat the same question. They can be easily distracted by background noises and be sensitive to the tone or volume of voices.
People become forgetful and are easily confused. It's often hard for those living with Alzheimer's to follow a conversation or remember that they have just asked the same question. That can lead to frustration for the individual and the caregiver.
Effective communication techniques can help reduce some of that frustration while increasing mental stimulation and self-esteem for the individual. To connect with a loved one with Alzheimer's, make eye contact and call them by name. Maintain positive body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice. If appropriate, gently touch or hold their hand. Take time to listen. Be patient.
You want to speak calmly and give your loved one plenty of time to respond. But it's also important to think about how you communicate. For example, a specific question, "Are you tired?" might be better than, "How are you feeling?" Use a statement rather than a question to achieve a desired outcome. So say, "Let's go for a walk," instead of, "Would you like to take a walk?" Giving fewer choices, such as, "Would you like spaghetti or chicken?" is usually more helpful than, "What do you want for dinner?" If you are asked the same question multiple times, you can either repeat your original answer or rephrase the information you are trying to share.
There are certain communication patterns the caregiver shouldn't fall into. Don't say, "Don't you remember?" or "I already told you." Don't talk about them as if they're not there. Don't talk to them as if they were a child. Don't put words in the person's mouth or fill in the blanks too quickly. Whatever you do, don't argue.
Their mind can't be thinking logically, so if she's doing something or saying something that doesn't make a lot of sense, you don't want to get confrontative about it.
Familiar tasks can be more manageable if they're broken down into a series of steps. Gently remind him or her of steps they tend to forget. Using visual cues, such as pointing to where to place a dinner plate, can be very helpful.
Use familiar words and keep sentences short. Use more concrete rather than abstract words. For example, say, "Put on your shirt," rather than "Go get ready." If you're giving instructions, break them into steps and repeat if you need to. It helps to limit distractions, such as having other people in the room or the television on. A caregiver who is calm and smiling can help put their loved one at ease.
A warm, loving approach goes a long way. Be open to your loved one's worries or concerns, even if they have no basis in reality. One of the most important points to remember is never argue with someone who has Alzheimer's. That's where distracting, redirecting, and therapeutic lying, or a little white lie, can come in handy.
Sometimes when he didn't know me, sometimes he'd call me by our daughter's name, or he had a caregiver who looked just a lot like my sister, and he would call her by her name. And I thought, that's okay, you know, if it makes him feel okay, you know, and they were okay with that too. So that really helped.
Every time I see her, I just want to try to make her smile. That was my goal, every time. Make her life just easy.
There may be angry outbursts, but you have to remember, that's the disease talking. Don't take it personally. When your loved one becomes upset, try to distract and redirect by changing the subject or the surroundings. For example, you could suggest listening to music, having a snack, or looking at family photos. It's often helpful to have a couple of ideas in mind. It never hurts to have a plan B or even plan C.
Individuals living with Alzheimer's disease often feel confused or anxious. They may recall things that never really happened. Don't try to convince them they're wrong. Stay focused on the emotions they're feeling, which are very real to them. Comforting words and hugs or holding hands can provide the reassurance they need.
Taking a step back in time is often a comforting activity. A person with Alzheimer's may not remember what happened 5 minutes ago, but they can clearly recall their wedding day or the birth of a child decades ago. Avoid asking questions that rely on short-term memory. Instead, ask them to talk about a happy event in their lives.
We've had so many years together that it's easy for us to slip, and be back where things were.
Sometimes the emotions being expressed are more important than what is being said. Look for the feelings behind the words. Be positive, not negative. Instead of saying, "Don't go there," say, "Let's go here." And if your loved one doesn't respond, wait a moment, then ask again. Maybe a timeout is in order for both of you. Again, patience and a positive tone are key. Show your loved one that what they're communicating is important to you.